Yo, yo. What up, guys? We back with another live stream. Not sure how this one will go. We'll switch things up a bit, maybe take it easy, you know, check some charts, check some positions. Let's see what we do. We just had a bunch, well, we just closed the 4-hour candles, so that should be interesting. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about the upcoming monthly closes, which should be very good. And yeah, let's check some charts. El Romano, welcome, my man. Long time no see. How are you, man? Everyone can hear me, right? Everyone can see the Bitcoin chart, can hear the music, volumes are okay. All good, perfect. All right, just giving it some time so some more people can join. Litecoin looks exciting. Not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but I like the look of it. I like this chop, to be honest, as well. Could see explosive moves out of it. But yeah, we'll cover it in depth in a second. Not a bad close. Could you chart desync? I could. Hello, Chick Akela, Sahil, Evil Rabbit, Surreal. All right, let's check some charts. Just want to say that I still have this trading competition running on Blowfin. it's pretty damn easy. If you use my link, you're automatically in. You can join with a small account and try to run it up, because there's a price for both P&L, percentage and volume. So if you trade volume, you can get up to the first place easily. And I think the first position at the moment has 2x their account. So if you like deposit like $200 and double it, you're automatically in first place. So if you want to check it out, head over to the description, make an account there. If you do so, you can also join my Discord group, where I post all of my trades live, more analysis, more questions, requests, all of that stuff. Okay, just quickly wanted to say that. Leave a like on the stream if you enjoy, subscribe, and yeah, let's get into the charts now. So we'll start off with Bitcoin, right? Let's start off clean actually. Let's remove all of this. Monthly. So we have our monthly close in 3 days. So far it's looking amazing, right? I think there's not a single bearish scenario unless we somehow close below here. Why below there? I feel like, well, you could say if it closes below here, it's like a swing failure pattern, right? But in my opinion, anything above here is strong enough to see continuation to the upside. All right, if you really want to look for a bearish signal on the monthly, I think the only way that this monthly close is bearish if it closes below the highest monthly close ever, which is this one right here. And I don't think that's going to happen. So as long as we close anywhere where we're trading at right now, I think there's nothing to be concerned about. The weekly from last week did close as a swing failure above this all-time high, but in my opinion, the more important level is gonna be this one right here. Now, why that one? Because that's the level that got swept here, right? And that led to all of this downside, okay? So that's gonna be your key pivot. And as you can see, we did close the weekly above there. The weekly had a big wick to the downside, then came up and closed pretty damn strong. Now we closed the weekly and are basically still within our last week's high right here and last week's low. So I'm gonna mark those out right there. Move on to the daily. On the daily, nothing too much to notice here. This was the consolidation that led to this move. So that's gonna be acting as demand, in my opinion. Where do we have our clean lows and clean highs? Well, we did on the lower time frame sweep this low right here, and that could be enough, as you can see right here. But on the daily, I still feel like there's gonna be a lot of liquidity resting below here. So I talked about it this morning as well, that I wouldn't be surprised to see a sweep of this before we move higher. And that would be a sweep of key liquidity into key demand, which would be a beautiful setup in my opinion. I personally don't think that we see last week's low yet, at least. Unless maybe we do something like this, sweep last week's high and see weakness, break back below here. At that point, the draw becomes on last week's low. But for now, right, if you have a draw to the upside and a draw to the downside on liquidity, yeah, in an uptrend like this, it's always better to assume that the biggest draw is going to be to the upside. And the more likely scenario is that we're going to sweep higher liquidity first. Right, that's just common sense. So that's exactly what I'm thinking here. Even lower time frame, we did sweep the highs into supply right here. So lower time frames, that's gonna be a little cleaner. Another sweep here. So you do have some clean levels to work with as invalidation on shorts. That doesn't mean you have to short, of course, but could be some reasons here on the lower time frames at least to be cautious, right? So as long as we stay below those levels, this one and this one, I could see prices dip into liquidity right here. Clean sweep and reclaim would be a clean long back towards the highs. But as I said, in market conditions like this, you're quickly gonna invalidate bearish scenarios, or gonna invalidate them quicker than invalidate long scenarios, right? So it's always gonna be better to look for longs on dips rather than to try to be a hero and catch a short. So yeah, for Bitcoin, in no position at the moment because of the reasons that I just said. I don't think it's worth shorting since we have an unswept last week's high as well, and I feel like if we need a bigger retrace, that it's gonna be after a key sweep. But yeah, also not longing here because of those lower time frame looks of these sweeps. Okay, so what would invalidate this? Well, this was the local supply where we started dumping from, and the one that got rejected after we swept this. So if we manage to get back above here, right, and see strength here within this area, I think we send to all-time highs. As long as we don't have that, and we do something like this, where we go for low time frame liquidity here, maybe, and sweep that and see a rejection and weakness, yeah, then I think the draw will be here, here, and here. All right. How do you pick the high and the lows of a range? First new high and new low after breaking structure. I made a video about that explains how I draw my ranges and stuff, and it's my pinned post on X, so go check it out. So the one I like the most is actually Ethereum, and I posted this setup on Twitter as well this morning, and that's the position I'm in at the moment. Why I like this is, well, the biggest reason is because of these triple highs, right? You're rarely gonna see price run away from those without taking them. So I think main liquidity is gonna be resting to the upside, and we have seen liquidity sweeps to the downside here and here. So I feel like that's a beautiful setup. Also, we have this key pivot right here on the 4-hour. As you can see, the high swept downside, resistance, 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 flipped it, resistance, resistance, back above, support, right? So that's the reason I bought that level. I think we head towards these, and then after that, off to this monthly level, weekly or monthly level right here that I've had for ages. But at that point, I think, quickly remove all of this, this as well. At that point, if we trade towards this level, I think we sweep liquidity above these weekly highs. So then I think these gets at least these, but I wouldn't be surprised if we sweep these as well into our weekly range mean. So something like this, and then maybe really cool off, come back down into here, a lot more ranging, a lot more chop before ultimately making our way a lot higher. Okay, but short term, I think upside, and we surprise a lot of people who have been looking for shorts, a lot of people who have been watching OI ramp up and talking about how this is going to nuke. I think we trap them first, get everyone into longing, thinking that we're heading for 4K, and then we smash it back down. So that's the position I'm in. Bought the dip here, right? You have a clean invalidation below that pivot. So you want to see that hold along with this lower time frame consolidation area that led to this upside. If you see on the hourly, what was the sideways price action that led to this move to the upside? Well, this sideways price action here. So that's gonna be your demand. Could see dips in there before pumping higher, but honestly, if I take a look at what I see, see what it's doing right now, I think we shouldn't revisit down here. I think it's up from here. So yeah, I can show you on the 10K account, we caught the dip nicely. As you can see, and I don't think I'm gonna TP anything before these triple highs, right? So I basically went all in on this. We've withdrawn 60K already. Had about 10K left, and basically I'm all in if I calculate my risk, at least with the 10K account. But you see, my risk is still managed on the bigger account. I just want to make a move, man. We're not gonna move this account a lot if we don't start taking some bigger risks. So that's why I went kind of heavy on this one. I like the position. Well, I like to trade, so I thought, why not? So far it's going great. Could do this, of course, and still nuke, stop us out. But yeah, we'll still be fine. I just think that Ethereum is gonna surprise a lot of people from here. 4 hour closed beautifully as well, right? Maybe make a lower wick to the downside first, although we already have a wick, so wouldn't be surprised if it does this as well. But as always, will depend on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin behaves and well, behaves or starts going up, yeah, I think Ethereum will do great as well. Okay, so that's one position I'm in. The other one was Sol from yesterday. Yeah, it was this one. Reasoning for it, right, was basically because we had a nice cluster of levels resting around this area, and we retested it and it was holding quite nicely. Obviously, as you can see right now, we broke below the levels. So it was basically the same levels as we have right now. Obviously, the weekly open, this range mean, and the daily open. Daily open is also resting in that area. The reason why I didn't close it, right, because my invalidation on the trade was breaking below those levels and below Monday low. But we came into Monday low and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna close it going into Monday low for like a minus 0.8 R while we're heading into Monday low support, right? I would have been pissed if I would have seen this, if I would have closed and then seen it bounce at Monday low. And as you can see, my stop placement was quite on point. So I'm still in a loss, obviously. But that was sort of my thought process behind the trade. I only went like 2K risk on this. But yeah, now you see why my stop loss was there. What I want to see now, because you could argue, yeah, that I have to close the position now, right? Because it's invalidated. But Monday low is holding, the market is bouncing. So what I want to see now is a smash back above these levels. If we do reclaim the weekly open and range mean, then I think we head back for the highs, and then this could turn into a nice profitable trade. What you don't want to see here is a retest of those levels and then getting a sell-off again, because at that point, yeah, the draw is going to become on this, this, and this, and then we likely take a stop out. But for now, just holding it. And then last but not least, Kaito from yesterday, right? But yeah, basically we've been watching this chart for weeks now. Ever since we've traded down here, we were looking for longs and looking for longs towards range mean and range high. It's been a bit of frustrating to trade this, because very often you're gonna see strength if Bitcoin sees weakness, and see weakness on this if Bitcoin sees strength, as we're seeing right now. Saw some weakness this morning while Bitcoin was being pretty strong, and while Bitcoin was weak yesterday, it popped off and made new highs. So it is frustrating, but it's still following the plan, right? It came to range mean, halted there, right? Beautifully rejected initially at supply first, but what you want to see then is range mean hold. It did, and then it popped off. So in my opinion, this is heading for this high and this range high up here. The only question is, how low are we going to retest before moving higher? Are we going to do something like this, test Monday high and then go for range highs? Or maybe, who knows, we're going to go for a sweep of all of this liquidity and then go for the highs. So personally, I haven't taken any profits on my longs that I entered yesterday. Why not? Because we haven't even swept low time frame liquidity here yet. We did sweep last week's high, and now it's looking, yeah, a bit ugly on the lower time frames. But I'm not targeting low time frame liquidity. We're targeting high time frame liquidity here. And if we look at that, the monthly closed beautifully yesterday, and the first daily liquidity is still resting above here. So that's my first TP up here. I'll close half, see the reaction. If, as long as it's a decent daily close, I think maybe consolidation and then continuation to new all-time highs. So I do think Kaito is gonna trade to new all-time highs in the coming weeks. That's why I entered the position. I'm in profit at the moment. Could turn into break-even trades, because yeah, you could trail your stops to break even, in my opinion. Although, yeah, we have this pivotal area here and here, which I could see get tested, something like this, and then higher. We were in this sort of channel as well. So maybe come back down again, do this, and then go for all-time highs. You see? But overall, I think looking for longs on dips on Kaito is gonna pay a lot. Alright. So that's these three that I'm in. So yeah, let's see what we get. $27.40. Where is it? ETH above the daily open now. That was also, by the way, so important to say, a big reason why I was looking for longs on ETH, because of the look of the daily. We had a flat top. It was right here. You see, daily open. And that was also a big reason why I was confident that we would at least go again for this area, and why I longed this dip, right? So that also means now that the flat top is gone, so what are we gonna do now, right? If this now flips red and we do something like this, I could see downside from there. if this now closes up here, right, anywhere here, the 4 hour, obviously it's still 3 hours and 30 minutes. But if it closes in the green, like it is how it's looking right now, I think we continue to the upside. But yeah, you could take some off here. I'm deciding not to because I think we go for these triple highs, but could be wrong as always. How old are you? I'm 26. Soul chart looks like XRP. Oof, I don't know about that. Yep, on the weekly looks nice. I'll do some requests in a second. So you mainly look at structure and less with indicators like TPO or EMA. Yeah, I barely use indicators, to be honest. Sometimes I look at them on the higher time frames, but not a lot. I mostly use highs, lows, key levels, stuff like that. So Litecoin looks interesting to me as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if this pops to the upside, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. You see on the weekly, so dipped, swept all the lows into weekly or monthly demand, nice upside, then halted there, built sort of an ugly range. Yeah, you can see maybe it's better to take this low as the lows because that's a weekly low as well. Those are the highs. Daily, you can see ugly chop, you know, right here as well, ugly chop, but it swept the lows and you have unswept highs to the upside. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if this pops and we sweep the highs next into this level right here, which is the range high of this huge accumulation. So for a setup, that would look something like this. Yeah, if you would think this pops, like you want to see the lows hold, you know. So something like this. Let's see key levels. Yeah, see, weekly open, daily open, Monday low got swept, that's good. Monday high is unswept, that's also good. Sad we didn't take previous week's low on these sweeps because then it would have looked even better. But right now it's fine. It's showing strength above those levels, above range lows. So as long as we hold above there, I think it pops to previous week's high. Let's long some. I'm gonna run out of margin though. Let's go low risk. Yeah, I don't have margin. Let's see. I might have just topped the entire market by longing Litecoin. Just saying. Will depend on Bitcoin. That's the thing I've been thinking about restarting a Bitcoin trade only account as well, as I used to do. But we'll see. I'll see how these trades go, then decide what I do. Are flat tops on more time frames valid, like 15-minute also? Yes, but they're way less, how do you say it? The strike rate on sweeping them is way more accurate on the higher time frames than on like the 15 minutes. You can use it, but how I use it is if there's a higher time frame, like a daily or a weekly flat bottom or top, I use that as a draw on price and then go to the lower time frames to make a plan and to long or short with a decent risk reward still, just towards that flat top or bottom. And if you want to do that on like a 15-minute top or bottom, you would have to trade the 1-minute charts, you see. So it's crazy how everyone... I posted a chart on X about Litecoin looking good, and everyone in the comments is like, Litecoin ripping always marks the local market top. Please know we know what that means. You know what Litecoin time means for the market, right? So I don't know, maybe this time's different. Let's see. Why don't you let price come to your entry? Because that's for pussies. If I like the setup, why wouldn't I enter at market, you know? I don't know. Maybe I should, but I've been doing it like this for years, and I'd rather not see price run away from me, so I just mostly market buy. BNB looks really good as well. You see daily broke above the levels that got swept. Retest and looking like it wants to run. So yeah, a lot of things are looking pretty bullish actually. It's just that Bitcoin on the low time frames looks tricky, but that also gives me the feeling that Bitcoin is just gonna invalidate it and just gonna start running. But let's see. Hype, we did a beautiful spot buy right before it took off. Like I bought right here, somewhere 27, 28. And I'm just holding this. I think this will trade a lot higher, especially if everything sends. I think this will outperform. I'm looking for a $60 area, somewhere there. Yeah, Fartcoin I was looking at Fartcoin, but I don't really like the look of it at the moment. sorry, as it, let's remove all of this. As it came into this key level right here and got rejected pretty heavily. So it swept these highs. I would want to see strength above here. If we do this, reclaim this, and then see a higher low, boom. Or all of this a bit higher, somewhere there. Then I would agree. But for now, I'm not sure. I don't think it would be a bad thing if it goes for some lows as well. Maybe just these. You see? Something like this. And then upside. So yeah, I'm not looking for longs here. Like if you're in spot, holding makes sense, obviously. But for me, to look for longs on margin, I either want lower or strength and confirmation higher. Sui, yeah, I tweeted about this as well, but I closed my longs already at break even earlier. Yeah, because I liked ETH more and because the market wasn't looking too hot back then. Now it looks good again, although it swept local highs. But the main reason I like this is because it's above all of these key levels and swept the lows beautifully into daily demand, right? Weekly demand even. If you take a look, this blue area is this weekly demand. Moving to the daily, you can clearly see this was the sideways price action that led to this huge pop. Then it came all the way back down, made some lows, boom, lower high, right? And now smashed back above the key levels. So if it wants to pop, it should be from here, in my opinion. So yeah, still looking good. Virtual. We longed this like right here, but then closed around break even, I think it was, or made a little profit, I don't know. And then it absolutely took off out of nowhere. Yeah, I should have looked for longs more actively, I guess. But it is what it is, it played out nicely. Yeah, feel free to post some requests now. And I can take a look. Alright, let's take a look. Where in Belgium do you live? Do you want to know? I live around Brussels. Ave. Yeah, this one has been in up only mode for a little while, on the daily at least. Well, on the weekly. But it's coming into some resistance here, so I'm not sure if longing in here is a great idea. OTE area probably as well. Yeah, not quite yet. But as you can see, the area we need to break in order for us to move to all-time highs will be this. So it's difficult, right? Because this shows really nice strength, but longing here is longing into resistance. So for, again, big difference between spot and margin. For margin, for longs, I wouldn't long into this. Barely took any high time frame liquidity to the downside on this run up. And came right into resistance. But if you're in spot holding from lower, then I would just hold, you know. What would I want to see if I was looking for longs? Again, a retrace lower or strength higher. But it is at a key area right here. You see this pivotal area? So if you see another pop and retest this, then that could offer a nice scalp higher. Then we likely send to the highs. But overall, yeah, it's looking really strong. Kidnappers ask where people live. I'm really curious on your perspective on Yup. Yup. Let's see. What's the chart with the most? Okay, this one I guess. Let's see. So we had some lows here that got swept. We have an ugly flat weekly bottom. And we swept the highs into resistance. Swept the highs into resistance. So I personally would pick another one because of those reasons. Because it's gonna have that draw towards here. If it does something like this, sweeps the lows, then you can look for longs. Or if you really see strength above here and close the daily above this level, then look for longs on low time frame sweep into the level. But right here, yeah, middle of nowhere, both arguments for downside towards here and upside because it's looking strong. But I'm not a fan of this flat bottom on the weekly and the highs being swept in this very obvious SR level. Chill guy. Let's see. Highs unswept and lows unswept. Right? So I would wait for... It's likely gonna chop and not gonna pull a big move until it sweeps these lows, in my opinion. So that's what I would be looking for. And if it goes from here, it's likely that it's just a trap and ranges a lot more. So not interested. We're not gonna do stocks. Curve and then desync. This one I liked because it was very strong, but let's see how it's looking right now. Let's see. I like this level. We're above the weekly open as well. But we swept this on the weekly, and that's a bit concerning. If it wants to dump, right, it should be from here. Why? Because this was your sweep, this was your supply, then you dumped, you made these highs right here, you swept them on this, and what you want to see now is continuation to the downside. If this gets invalidated and you break above here and see strength, yeah, then it's probably gonna go for another run. And that's similar to Bitcoin, right? What I marked here, you saw that supply highs swept and then low time frame highs right here. So if you want to see continuation to these lows, you either want to see a sweep and see it go from there, because if it does this and starts consolidating here, then it's likely going higher. How is it looking? Yeah, it likely is gonna put in a longer wick to the downside here on Bitcoin. So maybe do something like this in here and then higher. We'll see. A lot of drawings. Low time frame, that would mean something like this and then higher. But I do think low time frame, at least we take out this. Let's do desync. That's not the bad look. Not a bad look at all. That's the level that got swept here. We swept this as well. On these, ugly chop, then quick dip, and then popped off. So what's gonna be the demand? Right there. And as you can see, came back to that area and bounced nicely. And now looking pretty damn strong. Yeah, I like this. Draw is likely towards here. These two highs. Yeah, look, on coins like these, you don't have to go lower than the daily, honestly. But I quite like this. It's showing strength. It wants to push higher, it looks like. So yeah, good find. As long as we hold above this area, I think this pushes higher. Right. XRP. still ranging. It did this incredible move and then started ranging. And yeah, that's not the best look here. With these highs getting swept. Right, and it looks like it's sort of turning a bit. So what you want to see here is that sweep played out already though. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of liquidity is gonna be resting below there. So what I would like on this is buying dips in here. Something like this. But yeah, most likely it just ranges and chops. So I'm not holding this. I'm not trading this. Can do whatever it wants. Let's see, Bitcoin seeing some downside. But that's good. Putting in the 4-hour low. Let's see. Pengu. Yeah, we were trading this as well, but hasn't done anything for quite a while now. It's just ranging. And not really interested in it anymore after this ugly sweep right there. You see, it looks like this, and then tap of resistance. So where's the jaw gonna be? Here, and then maybe here. So either lower, a sweep of that, or a sweep of that. I might look for some lower time frame longs, right, to buy the dip. But right here, I'm not interested. Tao. I caught a long down here and closed it like here at these highs. It's crazy. But I still like this one. See, it's even here, the position, or it was higher. But yeah, still ran a lot after this trade. Was a nice one though. Anyways, weekly, you see, I really like the fact that it saw this kind of strength and broke above the most obvious sort of resistance, right? Like it broke structure on the weekly, and that's what I like. And we have these clean highs up here. So I think at least this has one more run. Past weeklies swept the lows right there, but yeah, not a long wick to the downside on this weekly candle. So let's mark that out. We can use that on the lower time frames. You see, if we go for a sweep of that and do something like this, that could be a buy the dip opportunity targeting all of those highs. Difficult stop placement though. Because I'm not sure if I would feel safe with a stop loss below this. Because it could do this and then rip. But yeah, you would have to, or it wouldn't really be worth it. So maybe try something like this. Or you wait for a reclaim, you know. You see, you have a weekly open right here now. Wait for, if it does it, of course, can go from here as well. But if you see downside, it puts in a longer wick to the downside on the weekly. Wait for the reclaim of the weekly open. And as soon as it reclaims that on the 4 hour, for example, that's your buy opportunity. Invalidation below the low that swept the lows and targets all of the highs. That could be great. Or you be aggressive and you start buying on the sweep below here, and keep your invalidation a little bit wide, right? Below here, for example, something like this. And then once it reclaims the weekly open, you add and you trail stops to the low. That would be a beautiful play, in my opinion. I like this. I really like this. What broker do you use to trade coins? I'm on Bluefin, man. If you want to join, links are in the description. If you decide to trade there, send me a DM or just simply join the Discord as well, and you get free access to that as well. Bird is still nice. Still one of my top picks for memes. Slightly front run range highs here, but that's just gonna be acting as a draw. So first time I started talking about this again was when it reclaimed this, because I liked the structure and it popped off. But I still like it. Weekly made sort of equal highs there, so that's definitely gonna be a draw. Could go for a sweep of these first, maybe something like this, boom, and then up to the highs. If it does this, that's 100% a buy, in my opinion. Hourly close on ETH is fine. Litecoin. Bitcoin is still fine as well. Inch. Oof. That's strong as well. Yeah, see, this is another great example. Like, it's so strong at the moment, but I cannot long into something that looks like this. Like, it's at resistance, high time frame. It has a flat weekly bottom. Swept the highs into supply. Like, where do you put your stop? I wouldn't feel safe there. I wouldn't feel safe, well, maybe there, but then what do you target? Like, if you target up there, you better wait for a reclaim, right? So what I would want to see here is a weekly close above this level, and then buy the retest and target the highs. But I'm not gonna buy into it. So, not interested personally. Can you show us your current trades? I already did that, no? Small Litecoin long, big ETH long, smaller Solana long, and then Kaito thinking about putting stops at break even, but I think I'm gonna wait a bit longer. Funding has been negative on this one as well for a long time. How long have you been trading this 10k account? A couple of months, so for quite a bit actually, but still a long time for the next 4-hour close, you see, but a lot can happen, you know, in between. But I feel like it will still be good. The 4-hour close on ETH, but we'll see, you know, what Bitcoin does. Ideal scenario for me, Bitcoin puts in the 4-hour wick here to the downside, sweeps some more lows, and then goes for these highs. And then what ETH would do, yeah, probably dip a bit lower as well, but see strength here, and then bounces and makes new highs. And then it would be the same for everything, you know. Litecoin popping off as well. But we'll see. What is AI XBT? Never heard of it. I wouldn't long into this. That's ugly, you see. So either strength on the lower time frames above here to target a lot higher, or yeah, likely needs the weekly low though. And at that point, maybe it would be good. So something like this, maybe it would be good to sweep these as well. Something like this, and then higher. But hey, I don't know this coin. If it's really strong, maybe it just gets in here. That's a nice pivotal area as well. There's something like this and then grinds higher. I don't know, but that's not something I would trade. I could still see Ethereum sweep lower, by the way. Like, we front ran this 4-hour demand here. So maybe it does this. Sweep, test lower, and then run. Maybe up from here is too easy, who knows? But that's why I kept my stop below there, to allow for that. Just gonna need to see that I don't get liquidated because of no margin. So I'll have to check that. Yeah, we'll see. Bitcoin bouncing already, but I wanted to see a bit lower actually. See, Ethereum is clearly strong though. I'm gonna especially keep my eyes on Tau. That's one of the favorite charts that I saw during this stream because of all of these highs up here and the look of the weekly. I really like this. Also the strength from the lows, you see, all of this upside. I think continuation soon. So that will be one on my watch list. Where is that? Give me something like this. And then I think I'll be aggressive on longs and add on confirmation. I'll be right back. Opinion on XLM. Not a fan. Feels like an exit pump, no? I mean, if you compare it to this and then what it did, like it feels like this is somewhere around here, you know? But I could be wrong, but I prefer not looking at very old charts like this one. Especially not when they look like this. Hello, hey, hi. Welcome. XMR. Yeah, what happened to this one was like super strong and then it's bouncing though. Broke out aggressively, swept the lows now. But I'm not sure why it was that weak here and why we dumped off that aggressively. Anyways, I still quite like it, but yeah. Could be dangerous as well, you know. Are there any trading volume requirements to join your Discords? You can just join if you made a deposit, but I check if people are actually trading. So if you deposit and then instantly withdraw, like I want you to use the account, and as long as you do that, you're good to join. If Bitcoin looking good as well. On the low time frames at least. On the monthly it's still disaster, but on the daily looks like it wants to pop as well. Have you ever dabbled in FX? Yes, back in the days, but stopped doing it because crypto offers way more. But if by any chance, at any point, crypto is less exciting or everything goes to zero, I guess I'll have to trade FX again. Lol. S&P looking good as well. That's also nice. Obvious dip that came here from the last supply resistance before all-time highs. This area. But we had the dip now, right? So the second test, I mean, maybe sweep and dump again, but I think we just break through. In any way, it's looking great. It's looking strong. If Bitcoin could get it over with and just dump and then pump again, that would be nice. There we go. Sweat local lows. Bit lower probably. And then bounce, hopefully. Otherwise, likely go for the lows below as well. Let's see what we get here, if we get a reaction. Would this work, you think? I'm not sure. I just think that we wouldn't dump from here without taking this, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Good bounce from here and we should be good. Still 40 minutes for the 1 hour close, still plenty of time to flip it green. 4 hour. The only thing that could be concerning is that we tested this a lot as well. This support area, so that another test could not hold. But we'll see. Oh, there we go. There's the bounce. And there's the rejection. Kaito can sweep the lows as well and then bounce. Yeah, no continuation after an ugly pop like this. I don't know. I think we have to bounce soon or things might start rolling over. But we'll see for now. Still valid. Let's see how the 15-minute closes. Pepe. See, immediately when I see something like this, high swept and low unswept, the basic setup would be to wait for this, right? But let's see the higher time frame. Weekly looking decent, although not a long wick to the downside, but overall looking fairly good. This will be resistance as well, maybe something like this. If it gets above here, likely sent for these highs. But again, wouldn't be my preferred pick to look for trades. But yeah, if ETH sees strength on the lower time frames, Pepe will likely as well. Which is probably why it's acting strong here, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like this from here. And then maybe down. See, ETH strong, you know? ETH Bitcoin popping. That's good. Alts could see some upside there. What is Sol doing? Sol is kind of weak. But I like this. Bitcoin is still in the same place. Inch we already did. Doggy. Ah, that's ugly. You see? Swept in there. Nah. Not interested until it sweeps this. Something like this. And then I might be interested. But for now, not really. Yeah, so strength from the lows and ever since been just doing nothing. Yeah, it's looking okay, but can range a lot longer than. Yeah, I quite like it though. Sort of broke out of here, consolidation, maybe continuation now. Also because we still have a lot of highs resting to the upside. All the way in here, here, all of these highs unswept, and then these two highs. So that's a good one. But difficult invalidation, right? If you were too long here, yeah, maybe stops there. But yeah, I'd pick another one likely. But still, looking okay. This coin is so weak, it's boring. Yeah. It's still at this high time frame demand area though, so indeed I wouldn't be surprised if this pops out of nowhere. At least to these highs right here, but still you can make a lot of money on a move like that. Something like this, and then maybe you cool off again, and but at least a sweep of that is likely in my opinion. Let's see, Bitcoin 15-minute closed okay, but it's still not doing much. Have you factored in the May 30 options expiry and its potential impact on Bitcoin price? We're heading into a 12 billion notional expiry, one of the biggest of the year. Nope. What do you mean with factored in? Like, with stuff like this, most of the people are better off ignoring it and focusing on the chart rather than making some weird theory about it and coming out with a certain solution or something, you know? Because most of the people will get it wrong, what happens, and you don't know what's gonna happen. So just the chart will tell you everything you need to know. Everyone is waiting for the unemployment data tomorrow. That could be yes. That we don't see anything crazy until then. Just let Ethereum do something crazy. That would be nice. See, it's looking good, yo. Just a small pop on everything and we'll get back to 80k on this. This time we'll take profits. I've been above 80 again like 3 times, and every time I hit it, like I was looking for continuation and things just reversed aggressively. See, there we go. This was a nice entry though. Who would you recommend to follow on CT? Everyone that I'm following, probably. How long did it take you to become profitable in day trading? Difficult question. Like a year or two, probably. But even then, it comes and goes, you know. You're gonna have hot streaks where you make a lot. You're gonna have losing streaks where you think it's all over. Nice price action again on the lower time frames. Holy shit. Like, what's this? ETH is nice. Bitcoin's just chopping, ugly. But hey, our eyes are on Ethereum. Nice. GameStop announced they bought Bitcoin and they're down 6% on the open. That's funny. This price action, man. Like I said, I still think we take these highs. We just made another one. Or they're walking it down into acceleration to the downside and then a big bounce. I don't know. Anyways, 1 and 2 hour close in 70 minutes. Let's see how these closes. Is Bitcoin gonna nuke everything again? Let's see, I guess. ETH setup should be safe. Kaito as well. Sol, yeah. I already imagined Sol as a stop out, so I don't really care about that one anymore. And then Litecoin is just a low risk play as a... We need James to open another 1 billion USD in longs. I'm not sure we do need that. Let's see here, New York Open, sweep some lows and run it back up. My soul got taken out. So it was in fact the bounce that should have been sold. But yeah, like I said, wasn't worth closing as it traded that close to the stop loss already anyways. Just need Ethereum to go and we should be good. Where would you be looking to the long Sol again? Well, if we now reclaim that area, then either then or likely around these range lows. It's a clean range we trade in. You see, high swept, low swept, so no clean draw there. Clean low here. So either strength above here. So a reclaim of this strength, then that becomes your invalidation. Target range high. If you reclaim this, target higher. Or if you get downside to range low, clean sweep and reclaim. Look for longs there. Invalidation, likely keep it a little bit wider than below here. And then if you get the reclaim of range mean, you can add and trail stops a little bit tighter. That's how I play Sol here. But like I'm saying, this I already saw this as stopped out because But I still feel like the whole market is just still wants to bounce here. I don't think that we'd see a big nuke. Could be wrong. Everything wants higher, I feel like. That's why I said ETH is my main play at the moment. I want to see this go. It's a risk reward if you take it here. See, that's not the best. I do have to go soon. Right, I'm gonna hop off. I gotta go. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's see what we get. Plans, most of the plans haven't really been invalidated yet. We'll have to see what Bitcoin does here in the coming hours. I still feel like we bounce soon and we don't just break down yet. If we do so, I'd keep your eyes on this low right here. Look for a sweep there and then buy the dip. But yeah, the way Ethereum is looking, I feel like this just wants to send. But if Bitcoin does that, then this will likely make new lows as well. Hopefully this blue area holds and then we send to the highs. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin just chops here, sees some wicks to the downside, some wicks to the upside, and we let Ethereum run. That's the ideal play. But anyways, we'll see. All right, I'll be in the Discord. I just have to go get something, but I'll be back in like half an hour. So I'll be in the Discord. If you want to join, use that link in the description to make an account. Simply trade on Bluefin, and you're free to join. All right, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.